Hey friends, welcome to the Creative Business Mindset. This is your backstage pass to the realities of turning your passion into profit. My name is Joke. I'll be your host. I'm a busy mom of 3, navigating the twists and turns of life and business. You'll get the good, the bad, and the glorious mess of starting afraid, the determination to keep going no matter what. Everyone knows you for that one thing. You know what I'm talking about. It's the thing that comes so naturally to you that you're happy to do it for free. That was me until I made 6 figures in my first year as a homestager. I've made so many mistakes so you don't have to. If this Nigerian girl can do it, you, my friend, can do it too. Let's go. If you've ever flown on Delta Airlines, chances are you've had a bite of the delicious Bell cookie. Today, I am thrilled to talk to the lovely and brilliant Brooke Perez, whom, along with her husband Thomas, founded Bell's Cookie. Fasten your seatbelt as we talk all things business, love, life, and food. The sweet story of how this small bakery brand that began in the Seattle area took flight is just as delicious and heartwarming as the cookie itself. Brooke, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. What an introduction. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. So let's start at the beginning. Your love for culinary, cooking, food took you all the way to Bogotá, Colombia. Walk us through that journey.
So I was in school at the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America in New York, and really looking for what to do next. And I've always loved to travel. So my mentor was doing consulting down in Bogotá, and they needed boots on the ground to redo the pastry program at a large cafe. After flying down there, getting familiar, getting comfortable with being in Colombia as a young woman and how that was going to be, I decided yes to do it. So I was living in Bogotá. I met Tomas in Bogotá when he had a coffee company. And then we decided we actually opened a cafe. We moved from Bogotá to a little city called Santa Marta, where he grew up. And we opened a cafe in Santa Marta under his coffee company, and then came back here because I was homesick. And so I brought him back with me. And that's why, we've been here ever since.
So I have had the privilege of being fed by you a few times, and your culinary skills, through your catering company. And I know that you have a totally different approach to catering and cooking. Your presentation is out of this world and the food is delicious. What makes your cookies, let's go back to the cookies, because what makes it stand out? Because starting a business is never easy, especially in the food industry, any industry. What were those early days like for you?
So we started Bell's. Through both of them, kind of my philosophy is I believe people eat with their eyes first. Truly do. It has to look good for you to really have, your mouth start watering and want to crave it just by looking at it. You've had my food, and that's what I want. I want people to crave it just by looking at it. So that goes along with our cookies too, making sure that they look good while still being nostalgic and approachable and craveable, and hopefully much more craveable after you eat them and want them again. Okay, so we started during COVID, and our daughter was just about 1 at the time, and there was no business in catering anymore because people weren't gathering. And so we're like, how do we create something to bring people together, in hospitality when people can't gather? And our cookies were always popular, and we had thought about a cookie company. So that's when Bell's was born, is really with a necessity of something to do. And it kind of grew from there. But it was Tomas had a full-time job, and I was baking cookies in the morning, and he would go out in the van and deliver them in the afternoon driving, and we would ship some. And it was a lot different than it looks now. There's actually a point in 2021 in the very, very beginning of 2021, where we said, okay, some events are coming back up again. We can't use our catering kitchen for baking cookies anymore. Do we want to find somewhere else to bake cookies and continue this company? Or do we want to close it and you still have a full-time job and we have catering and just call it a fun hobby? And we decided, okay, let's take the leap. Tomas quit his job. We started building a cookie shop in Green Lake, and we've been in Green Lake open since June of 2021.
Are you guys still open at Green Lake?
We're still open, yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the big milestone though, because I know doing business in the pandemic, I was in business in the pandemic. So those were tough times, especially for food, catering, gathering, when you couldn't do that anymore. And then you decided to launch Belt's Cookies. So it is now being served on Delta Airlines. First of all, congratulations, big deal, because I've always been fascinated by that story. How did this incredible opportunity come about? Because I imagine getting your product onto a major airline must have been no easy feat. Can you walk us through that process? What did it take for that to happen?
Yeah. So we actually got an email from Delta in late 2021, mid to late 2021, right after we opened the shop. And we thought it was a scam. We thought it was a scam. We almost deleted the email. It was like airline opportunity. And we're like, nope, this cannot be real. Like almost deleted it, but entertained it for a second. Turns out it was real. And they were collecting. So Delta was doing a program where they were finding small bakeries or cookie shops in their local hubs. So they were finding, a bakery or cookie shop in Seattle, in LA, in Atlanta, and really going toward the local area. And so after a bit of giving our cookies again and again and again, and, winning that account for the most part, then we were on Delta First Class leaving Seattle. And we were doing about 20 to 40,000 cookies a month. Pretty low. I know that seems like a lot of cookies, but it's pretty low capacity. And so we did those all out of our shop in Green Lake. And then 6 months later, Delta came and said, hey, we are having issues with the other small bakeries in the other cities. Either they can't keep up with quantity, or they're not consistent, or, something's going wrong. And we want your cookies nationwide.
Wow.
And we want them on all the flights, first class.
Wow.
And we're like, okay, don't know how we're going to do this, but let's do it. And so you said yes, and then went, oh, okay, well, we need to figure out how to do this. So then we found someone in Seattle to co-manufacture the cookies. And we started, first they said, okay, we want 100,000 a month. Then 2 days later, they called back and they're like, no, we want 250,000 a month. And then they said, no, we want 350,000 a month. And so we were doing consistently about 450,000 cookies a month for first class Delta. And now we also do their special meals cookie. So it's a vegan, gluten-free dark chocolate cookie bar. And so that's also Delta first class for anyone that is vegan, gluten-free. So it's been a process.
I would say that I have encountered that cookie in person with you as a gift. And then I have had the time that they served it to me on the Delta Airlines. I actually saved it. I didn't open it. I took it home to tell my kids the story of the cookie. And everyone's like, oh, well, yeah. Belt's cookie, we know. So I am a big fan. And a few things that I heard in what you just said was, one, the opportunity came, literally dropped in your lap. And that is a huge thing, a lesson for everyone, that you never know where that opportunities are coming from. Learn to be flexible, say yes more often, and because you never know. And then two, the thing that you said about they requested an increase in your capacity, how much that you didn't know how you were going to do it. But you said yes. And then you found a way for it to happen. So those are all big lessons and aha moments for me that, you just have to open up yourself to the universe, say yes, and you'll always find a way to do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Saying yes, even not knowing how to do it. I mean, Tomas and I have done that countless times. And thank goodness we've been able to do what we've said we can do. But you really never know what's going to happen. You don't know where each opportunity is going to take you. You don't, even if it's the smallest one. There's projects that we've taken that we're like, okay, we're going to lose money on this project. We're going to make an investment, even though it's selling somewhere, we're going to lose money on this project. But the opportunity is this big. And so let's start here and lose a little bit of money. And then maybe we break even. And then maybe someone finds us and it leads to something huge. I mean, most of it is you hope that you're making the right decision and you never know until you make it. You really don't. You're flipping a coin most of the time and you just hope that you're right. And it's daunting and it's riskful. But I mean, the other side of it is not growing and staying stagnant. And it's like, what would you rather do? Try it and fail or not? I mean, we've all heard that a million times, but it really does go with, okay, see if you can do it, push yourself, get uncomfortable. Because if you don't, you are not going to grow as a person. Your business is not going to grow and it's not going to get any better in where you actually want to go.
Yeah. Taking a bet on yourself and just saying yes. I'm a huge fan of that. I can imagine that, okay, this dropped in your lap. You didn't go looking for it. You didn't actually prepare for it. And then it came. Were there things that you had to now, I can imagine, maybe change your recipes, your packaging, specific airline standards? And what did you learn in that process and, grow yourself? Of course, because there will be a growth of you as a person that will now translate to the growth of the business. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we grow a ton with each project, and Delta definitely, that first Delta project definitely taught us a lot. We had to change the recipe a little bit when you're making it from 20,000 cookies to 400,000 cookies and going through different machinery. You have to add, maybe 1% of butter or something to make it run through the machines easier, or, have it at a different speed when you're mixing. We had to create new labels. We have to, go with new different standards for nutrition facts, have QR codes. There's a lot of things that, each account has different things. We're in 30 countries now in duty free.
Wow.
And a Volta bought duty free. Almost any airport in Europe, in Spain, some of them in the Middle East, in Africa, they have a very different looking cookie, different package. It's in a tube. Like you would get like a whiskey bottle in a tube. It's in a tube, not quite as high as a whiskey bottle, but they're crunchy cookies. And that project was a huge learning experience. We have 8 different languages on the back of that package. 8 languages. It's like, who would have ever thought you need 8 languages on the back of the package by code? Well, you do. And you still can't sell in Canada because you don't have French on the front. Like every country has different regulations when it comes to packaging. We have a shop in Madrid. We have a storefront in Madrid.
Wow.
And I had to go over there and change the recipes because Madrid's at a higher elevation. So change the recipes for the elevation there. And then our Volta cookies, duty-free cookies, are made in Spain. So there's just so many different changes when you're looking at location.
And you just have to keep growing through all the logistics, things you didn't even know that you needed. Now you have to go learn how to make it happen, and you're making it happen. I am flying out to London next week to see my family, and I will be looking out at the airport for the ones in the containers. That sounds really cute.
Oh my God, please send me a video
if I find it, I will send you a video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have been on the other end of making the cookies, or maybe directing the making of the cookies. When was your first encounter with your cookie on Delta Airlines or somewhere else that you didn't put it there and you just came in and it was in front of you? Do you remember when that was and how did it make you feel?
I think I've had two moments like that stick out in my head where you're kind of like starstruck by seeing your cookie somewhere you didn't know it was. One of them was Halloween a couple years ago. And we were trick-or-treating with the kids in our neighborhood. And one of the houses was giving out Bell's cookies. And I was just kind of like blown away. Like, I'm still speechless. I'm like, how did our cookies get, like, why would they pick Bell's cookies to give out to kids on Halloween, etc.? That was one of them. A second one is we sell to coffee shops here in Seattle. And I'm not the one who works with the coffee shops, who does the orders, anything like that. So I'm not really aware of where they're going or who actually has them. Mm-hmm. And I went to a coffee shop in Seattle and I didn't know they were there. It was a huge surprise. And so I walked up to the front and I was struck and surprised and just like, wow, those are our cookies. And this is somewhere that people go to get coffee. And what I really love is, yes, we're growing globally. And definitely the overall trajectory of the company is to expand globally and have a bigger presence and grow the value of the company, etc. What I also really love is to grow a local presence and to really be a part of the community. And it doesn't contradict growing globally and getting big. It doesn't have as big of a return, but it's much more fulfilling. And when you're able to make space for that in the company to do something that really fulfills you. And I mean, not only me, it fulfills Tomas too, but I'm from Seattle. So it fulfills me a little bit more to be able to, share it locally. And again, it doesn't sell 1 million more cookies a month. But does it bring people together in Seattle over cookies? Yes. Do you feel proud when you go to a grocery store and you buy another cookie from Seattle? Yes. Whatever. I mean, it doesn't have to be Bell's cookies, but you go to PCC and you buy another cookie or a product that's made in Seattle and you're like, yes, I love this. This is the small business I'm supporting in Seattle. And so it's also really great. One thing that I love is to be able to be in Seattle, see it places that didn't know they were, and then also be able to spread that community in Seattle.
I love that. So just thinking about growth, business growth, coming from your small cookie brand to growing globally, you walked into a coffee shop and your cookie was there. You didn't even know how it got there. You do know that this is your client. Just thinking about that, it keeps reminding me, and this is a recurring thing, of if you're going to grow and go far, you need people. You can't do it by yourself.
Yeah.
So I have a team that supports you. How has that changed things for you? Because you also have a family and I am a mom as well. So I learned to build my business around my family life, not the other way around. Because that's another thing. When people quit their 9 to 5, it becomes another job that they create in their business. And I understand at the beginning, it's usually like that because you're all in trying to build this something new and it takes all of you. But over time, if you're going to grow, you need help. Tell us how your team has impacted your growth.
I mean, you are spot on. Having a team is the single thing that will allow you to grow. If you don't have a good team, if you don't have people that support you and that you support too, your business will not flourish and it will not grow. That is the number one most important component. It doesn't matter how hard you're going to work. If you don't have people that are working that hard with you, you're not going to go anywhere. So I think it's very different. I know we're talking about growing globally and having the change of mindset. I mean, we had a catering company, and catering company you can't bring globally. You're in a location. And it's when we started Bell's, the vision was to pay our mortgage. And that was it. Like, there's no, we're making this company bigger. There's none of that. It was, okay, we need to figure out how to pay our mortgage. And over time, it evolved a lot. And that has been the biggest mental learning experience, I think, in growing the company, is changing the chip from we're a small business, which we still are a small business. But if I forever treat my company like a small business, it's always going to be one. And if I want it to get bigger and bigger, I cannot keep treating it like a small, local, tiny business. Even if we are, and we are, I can't keep treating it that way. So I think that was the biggest growth and thing business-wise mentally when I was changing my mental chip to how are we going to grow the value of the brand globally? It's not how are we going to sell more cookies, because growing the value of your brand isn't always more revenue. It's how are we going to grow the value of the brand? And so that brought on tons and tons of new questions and, what makes the brand valuable? What makes brand in general valuable? How much, then you're looking at valuation and how much they sell for and what do you want to do with it? And a whole nother slew of questions I'm sure you're familiar with. But when it comes to, you're talking about a family too, and we have a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old. And a reason why I closed the catering company is to be able to balance sell cookies with a family. And what it is exactly what you said. I didn't want to plan my family around my work. And we started the catering company when we didn't have kids. And we could put 80 hours into a company and have it, still energy at the end of the day and still time. And it was just not that anymore. And I didn't want to go through it with a catering company at this time in hospitality in a way that it would take that much more time away from my family to have work be the number one.
Yeah.
So yeah, a couple different mental changes there. Definitely. It was hard to let go of catering, but you can't have everything at the same time. So letting catering go, still doing 1, 2, 3 events a year, maybe, but letting catering go for the most part, putting family and my kids and my marriage first. When you're working with your spouse, it's a miracle if people are still married when they're working together. It's an absolute miracle. But our responsibilities are very different, which is a very good thing. And he has nothing to do with creativity and culinary and flavors and scents and operations. And he's a CEO, so he does relationships. He's focused on the relationships, on building, on much more overall picture, marketing, website, etc. Things that aren't my wheelhouse and I don't need them to be. And that's the only way it works. A lot of people have said, how do you run a business with your significant other? And the answer is a miracle. And have different responsibilities. Completely. Don't let anything overlap. It's all different.
I've heard that from a few friends that I know who work with their spouses. They're like partners in a business, and it's the same answer. It's a miracle we're still here because, things will overlap sometimes, not your roles in the business, but life, family, and your love will, kind of intersect because you're constantly working together, you live together. So kudos to you both for making it happen. Before I let you go, you have achieved so much. What is next for you? What do you see in the next 5, 10 years for Bell's Cookies, for Brooke, for Thomas, for you? What do you see?
Mm-hmm. Definitely, I want Bell's to be more of a global brand. I don't want it to just stay well known. It's not even well known in Seattle. It's still teeny. I want it to be really well known around the world and globally. Everyone wants their product to be a household name. I don't know if that's exactly what it stands. A household name is what I'm looking for, but definitely more well known globally as a very quality, good product brand. So for Bell's, I think that's what I'm looking for. I don't know if we'll still have the company in 10 years. Hopefully we sell it for a lot of money before that.
Yeah. Yes. But you're definitely setting it up for that.
But also, you never know what's going to happen. So if we do have it in 10 years and it is a global brand, that's on the horizon, what I would love. I don't know where in the world we'll be in 5 or 10 years. We're people that keep it very open. I love Seattle. I think everyone's life is changing so much right now, and we don't know what's going on in the day to day. So right now, I'm very open-minded and keeping my mind open about where in the world we'll be in 5 years. And I don't know.
Yeah.
So personally, it's, make sure a goal would be to be married.
Yes.
Stay married, have a 15-year anniversary, have a 25-year anniversary like you, and be able to spend time with the kids.
Brooke, this has been such an inspiring conversation. Your journey from Seattle to Colombia and back, and your small bakery, going into Delta Airlines. This is proof that passion, persistent, hard work, and really good cookies can take you places. And for everyone listening, if you've never tried Bell's Cookie yet, if you're in the Seattle area or anywhere, you ship around, you ship everywhere, right? Go to bellscookies.com to order some for yourself and visit them in Seattle. Or if you're flying Delta, keep an eye out. You might just be snacking on one of Brooke's famous cookies mid-flight. Until next time, keep chasing those dreams and one bite at a time. You've been listening to the Creative Business Mindset podcast. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. Thank you for listening and keep doing all the things. Until next time.